am so excited about today's episode. Today, I get to talk to an amazing woman, and we get to hear her story and how God has completely transformed and healed her life. Chinelo Onyeador is seriously an amazing woman who's making impact in so many lives of other people. Thank you so much for being on the show today. I think it's so amazing that you are someone who's young, you're ambitious, but you're also a cancer survivor.
Yes, girl.
Yeah.
Thank God.
And you're only, how old are you again?
23.
You're 23 years old, a cancer survivor, but you didn't find out that you had cancer until you were, I think you were getting ready to graduate. You were 23 when you found out, right?
22.
22 when you found out.
So I had just graduated, well, if we want to back it up. So during college, it was my last year of college, we went on spring break, went to Miami, had a great time. The last day I was there, I was in pain and I couldn't go out or do anything. I just stayed in the condo the whole night. And on my way back, I took some pain pills and said, if I feel worse, if it doesn't get any better, then I'll just go to the hospital when I get back to school. And I didn't feel any better. So I went to the hospital and they said I had pneumonia. So they gave me some antibiotics and I was out of school for a couple days and I went back to my normal life, blah, blah, blah. Graduated about a month and a half later, and then when I got home 2 weeks later, I was having pain in my side. So I went to the doctor, even though I didn't really want to. My parents were like, just go, you don't know what's going on, you should go to the doctor. So I went and they told me that I had enlarged lymph nodes, and from there I started seeing all these different specialists trying to make sure it wasn't the worst.
Okay, so wait, now when that happened, when they told you this issue, how were you feeling at this point? Because I mean, you've probably never been to the doctor this many times in your life.
Well, yeah, for some reason in college I would go to the hospital at least once a semester for one reason or the other, but nothing ever like this extreme. So they said you have enlarged lymph nodes. I'm like, what does that mean? And I'm sitting there like my side is hurting, like I think I cracked a rib, and they're telling me my lymph nodes are enlarged and that means I could possibly have cancer. And I'm like,
wait a minute,
y'all not helping me right now. Like my ribs hurt, y'all telling me I might have cancer. That's not, no.
Yeah.
So at the moment I wasn't really like, I just kind of blew it off. I didn't think anything of it. And I called my mom and told her, and she was like crying and stuff and freaking out about it. But I was like, Mom, like, don't even worry about it. It's nothing. Like, it's not cancer. If it is, like, it's nothing that, God can't handle. There's no need to stress about it.
So even at that moment, like it seemed like you had no ounce of fear.
Right.
You were just like, no, like God's going to take care of it.
Pretty much. And I really just don't know where it came from, because everyone around me was nervous and scared. But I was just like, look, this ain't nothing for my God, this is nothing that we can't handle. I really don't know where it came from. Like it's magical. It's just God.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes and thinking, if I had received the news that you received and I had all these people around me with that mindset of, oh my gosh, like what is she going to do? There's tears, there's people crying. But you're just like, no, like this is not my portion. I'm going to be okay. God can handle it. Who did you get that strength from?
I don't know, to be honest. Like, it's just God. It really is, because my parents, like, I would say, like, I was the one that held everyone together emotionally through that whole process. Like, there were very few times that I cried. I mean, there would be little things that would, build up and stuff that would make me cry. But I never, like, the day I found out I had it for sure, I didn't cry. I was just like, okay.
So now let's go to the point when you actually found out that, okay, I do have cancer. At that point, what were you feeling? What were you thinking?
Well, by this point, it had been like almost a month since I first found out about the enlarged lymph nodes. So I went to my primary care doctor, and they were doing blood tests to see if it was lupus, if it was an infectious disease or anything like that, and everything was coming back negative. Then I went to a pulmonary doctor, because the reason why I went to the doctor in the first place is because my ribs were hurting, my side was hurting. So they found that there was fluid in my lungs. So I went to a pulmonary doctor, and then the fluid in my lungs was just a result of the enlarged lymph nodes. Sometimes when something else is going wrong, your body will react to tell you that, hey, like there's a problem. So the fluid in my lungs was signaling to me that there's enlarged lymph nodes going on in your body.
Yeah.
So after I went to the pulmonary doctor, he sent me to an oncologist. And that was finally when I got a biopsy of, by this point, you know, you could see the masses in my body, like they were coming out.
Jesus.
So I went to an oncologist and I got a biopsy, and then like a few days later, I finally got the news that, you know, it was cancer. And by this point, you know, it had been, like I said, about a month. So I had done my research about the cancer that they thought it would be, Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is really common in younger people. So I had done my research and seen that it was very, very treatable. Most people survive. I think the survival rate is over 80% or 90%. So.
Wow. So you literally, you were out there digging deep, looking at research. I'm really just amazed right now, sitting down with you and talking to you about this, because some people, you know, there's always that fear of, God, what's going to happen? Am I going to die?
Right.
Like, life is going to change for me, but it don't seem like it was like that for you at all.
I know I have so much more left in life to accomplish. Like, I knew this couldn't be it for me, you know? So it was never a concern about, wow, am I going to survive? Like, I knew I was going to survive. That wasn't a question for me. Like, I knew, like, coming into this was going to be a situation that changed me for the better, and I was going to move forward and do great things. That's just how I came into it.
So the woman that you were before cancer, you are a completely different woman after cancer.
I would say so, yeah, to an extent. I think I see things differently. Before cancer, I don't think I was a complainer, but now, after, I'm definitely not a complainer. Everything, you know, that happens, I know it happens for a reason. Everything has a greater purpose than you really can see at the moment. And I just take everything so much more, everything is so much more precious now, because you just never know what can happen. Like, one day you're completely healthy and the next day they're telling you have cancer and you have to start chemotherapy. So it's just, your mindset is completely different when you hear some news like that. You know, you take every day, day by day, like it's your last day.
So I started following your journey and how you just started blogging about this whole entire journey. And I thought it was extremely inspirational to see that although you were going through this whole process of, I'm trying to go through chemo, or I'm going through chemo, you were telling people, thank you so much for your encouragement. But guys, your website is called IHaveAPurpose.org. And so you're telling people, I want to hear your story. I want to know your journey. What's your purpose? What are you going through? And I was just blown away, because you had the courage to just tell people, hey, I'm smiling. There are very few moments when I cry, but here I am. And I have a quote that you actually put on your blog, and you said, crying doesn't help cure me. Being worried doesn't help cure me. It's good to let out emotion sometimes, but once I do, I'm done. My faith is a huge part of my journey, so I wanted to share this with you. Looking back at that, I'm not sure when was the last time you actually looked at your blog, but what does that make you think about hearing that?
I don't even know. Like, hearing that is like, did I say that? You know, like, you did. You know, like, I guess those trying times will bring out stuff from you that you never knew you had. And I'm getting emotional now, like, but it's just God. Like, that's all I can say. It's just God. Like, only God can bring out the beauty in such a horrible situation like this, you know?
Yeah. And I saw, like, you had pictures of so many family members and friends. And I think what I really admire so much is your mother. I ask who you get that strength from. And I've seen so many pictures. I followed your journey on Facebook and on Instagram, and just seeing your mom right there by your side, your mom and your dad. But I saw so many pictures of your mom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you have such a strong support system, you know?
Yeah.
And to have that, I think that also plays a huge part.
Yeah. A lot of the healing process it's just like your environment. I think a positive attitude is one of the most important things for healing. Because if you're negative, your body, you know, your feelings can affect your body. So if you're always sad, you might be sick just from being sad all the time. If you have people around you that are happy, positive, then that's going to affect your body. Your body's going to feel better. You're going to feel better. You're going to heal faster. So I think having that support system really helped me a lot. Like half the time, like we were making jokes about cancer, making jokes about chemo, making jokes about my hair falling out, stuff like that. You know, it just helps, like, you know, not to take everything so seriously all the time. You know, even if it's a bad situation, you can make light of it and just enjoy the time that you have. Like I said, like you never know when your last day is going to be. So,
wow. I've just taken in so much from that to know, because I happen to be one of those people, everything must be serious.
Yeah.
But there are days when you just need to joke around. I think even before, like, you know, I'm like, how's my hair? And you're like, oh, it looks fine. You know, just do this. It reminds me of my hair, which your hair is so beautiful. It's gorgeous. And I'm sure, like, I saw pictures on your blog where your hair was just so full. How did it make you feel when you started losing your hair?
That was like the main, before I started chemo, that was the main thing I was worried about, was my hair. Like, because I was natural, like, you know, being a black woman, it's hard to, you know, grow out your natural hair without any chemical processes. So I had been natural for like 2 years. My hair was like just getting to its peak, you know, and then like I have cancer. I'm like, oh God, so you mean I got to do chemo and my hair is going to fall out? Like, no. So, you know, I've been prepping for that, like, okay, my hair's going to fall out. Let me get some wigs. Let me make sure I'm on point at least.
Get your wigs, girl, because those wigs do wonders.
Yes. So, you know, I had been preparing for that, and then it took forever. My hair did not fall out. Like, it took almost, I think I did 9 chemos, and my hair was barely falling out. So I was like, what is going on? Like, my doctor was, like, confused. She was telling me, like, your hair it's still full, like it looks the same, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know, like it's not,
it's there,
it's just there. So 9 chemos later, I still have a head full of hair, and I think after I switched treatments, that's when like it all hit me like one day. It just all came out. It was my first one. I switched to a different treatment, and the first one, all my hair I took a shower, washed my hair.
Oh gosh.
It just all started coming, like I could feel it coming out. So I stopped washing it because it comes out more when you put water in it. So I like the whole time I was doing treatment, I was trying to not wash my hair as much because I knew my hair would fall out.
Wow.
So, you know, one day I just start, you know, pulling on it, and it was just coming out in chunks and chunks and chunks.
What was your reaction?
At first I was more like fascinated, like, oh, okay, like, you know, just pulling it out. And then like a couple of days later, it hit me like, dang, like, I really don't have hair anymore. Like my hair just, it's gone.
But you took it so well.
Yeah,
and I
did.
think that's the beauty in it, and like in hearing your story, and for other people who may be going through the same thing, is just see the light in the situation that like is right before you, because it's gonna make it come out so much better. Like seriously, just to see the joy. I even felt the joy as I was reading your blog. It did so much, and I was like, this really inspires me, because I may not have cancer, or I may not have ever gone through anything like that, but I know if I get into an argument with someone, I know if I'm having a bad hair day, I know that I can see the light in whatever it is that I'm going through. So I do kind of want to I think this is a rewind. Now there was a point when you were going through, I can't remember which treatment it was, but you were having issues with your ovaries. So there was a possibility that with all these treatments that I'm undergoing, I may not be able to have children. So I'm going to have to do something. Talk about that. Yeah.
So before I started the chemo, you know, they warn you about all the things that can happen with the treatment. So chemotherapy is like really poison. It just destroys everything in your body. Like the point is to destroy fast growing cells. So like hair cells are fast growing cells, nail cells are fast growing cells. So all those cells die, and sometimes the chemo can attack cells that are good, even if, you know, there's nothing wrong with them. The point is to kill the cancer. So it kills everything in its tracks. So, you know, they warned me that my ovaries might not work after the treatment. Like a lot of women, their menstrual cycle goes away during the treatment and then it'll come back, but sometimes it doesn't. So they told me, you know, you can go see why can't I think of the name of this doctor? why can't I think of the name? You know, the doctor where you store your eggs.
Ooh, girl.
I can't think of the name.
I can tell you right now, I wouldn't even know that. Yeah. We might have to ask somebody on the set. Do we know the doctor you go to when you store your eggs?
I cannot think of it. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So I had to go to an egg specialist doctor to see about storing eggs and freezing them. And, you know, when that time comes where I'm ready to have kids, I can get those out of storage and use them. So I went through it. I went to see the doctor. I didn't really get a good vibe from him. But I started the process. I was supposed to give myself an injection every day to build up my egg count. And then after a few days of taking those injections, they would take the eggs out and then store them for me. Because, you know, they're going to get they're going to produce millions of eggs, but only so many come out. So you try to get as many as you can because not all of them are going to work.
Wow.
So I went through a couple of days of the injections, and then I went to see another doctor to get my port in. I have a port in my chest where I get my chemotherapy instead of going through my veins, because your veins get tired from getting poked all the time. So they just poke you in a little port thing. It connects right to your veins inside your vascular system. Okay.
So
anyway, so I went to that doctor, and I was telling him, he was asking me when I was going to start my chemo, and I told him that I was going through this egg retrieval process, and he was like, what are you doing? You don't need to do that. You're young. You need to just get this cancer out of you. Like, God will take care of it. If you are meant to have kids, you'll have kids. If not, then you're not. But right now, the most important thing for you to do is just get this cancer out of you.
Wow.
And I just took that as a sign from God, like, you know what? He's right. So I stopped. And now, a year later, here I am with my menstrual cycle.
Wow.
Just as normal as it was before I started.
And I remember even reading, you were talking about how your family, you guys would get up in the morning and you would pray. And that was something that you guys did. You just started praying over different things. And I know it was really hard for your parents in the beginning when they found out, and they were really nervous. And then you're like, I'm going to be fine. He got this. Like, there's nothing too big for him. So did you see over time where their attitude began to change and their attitude was more like yours? And they're just like, you know what? My daughter is going to be fine. Because your parents like cheering. So.
Well, I think it did change a little bit. I think me saying this kind of helped them, but I could still see in the back of their heads, like the back of their minds, like, I'm still worried, you know, I'm their only child. So of course they're worried about me. They don't want anything to happen to me. If they say every day, you know, if I could be the one to have this cancer, I would, but you know, so yeah, their attitudes definitely changed a little bit. And I think me keeping a positive outlook helped. But of course, you know, as parents, they're going to worry about their kid.
Yeah. So now you are cancer free. God has completely healed you. This is so awesome. And I think now you, like I said, on your blog, you're really all about helping people tell their stories or share their purpose. What is it that you would want people to know? If there's anyone that's going through a challenging situation or something difficult or something very similar to what you went through, what do you want to leave with people?
I just think, you know, you're not your circumstances. I think that's the most important thing. Like, just because you have cancer doesn't mean like all you are is a cancer patient. Like, don't let who you were before your circumstance be disintegrated because of what you're going through, you know? Use what you're going through to help other people. Use what you're going through to move forward and become better.
That's right.
That's probably what I would say.
So what are you doing now? What's happening in your life now? Your world, I'm pretty sure it's changed.
Yeah.
You're cancer free now, which is so awesome. We thank God for that. So what does life look like for you?
Well, right now I'm still doing treatment. You probably can't tell, but I am.
You look great. Somebody who's still going through treatment.
Yeah. So. I had a stem cell transplant. So I don't know if you know about Robin Roberts, the anchor on Good Morning America.
Yes,
but she had a stem cell transplant also, and so it wipes out your entire immune system, and then it starts you get your stem cells to rebuild it so that the cancer has a less chance of coming back. So after that, I did that. After that, now I'm doing a preventative treatment. It's kind of a new thing, and I think it's going to be a new cancer treatment in the future. It's up and coming, less harsh and more effective. So it targets specifically those cancer cells or cells in your body that cancer like, and just destroys those, and it doesn't destroy everything else around you like chemo does. So, you know, it's still preventing that cancer from coming back, but you can live your life normally. Your hair isn't falling out, your skin isn't changing, your, you know, stuff like that. So the side effects that I was experiencing before, I'm not anymore. I'm going to school now, and I'm working, and I'm still doing the treatment. So
wonderful. So going to school, you're working now, you're a beautiful young lady. So I'm sure there may be some gentlemen who will watch and will probably be like, is she married? Or is there someone special in your life?
No. I'm focused on, you know, myself and getting back to normal. Men have not really been...
It's been the last thing.
Yeah, not really my main concern at the time, you know, that I was going through everything. But yeah, so...
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm so excited that you got an opportunity to come on the Dialogue Show, and thank you for joining us. I'm sure all of our viewers are definitely going to be touched by some of the things that you shared. So I'd like to do one last thing before we go, before we end. Have you ever heard of this game called Table Topics?
No, I don't think so, no.
All right, so I love to do this because it's just so awesome. It's a great way to end, so pick a magic card.
Okay. There's lots of cards. Oh,
you got to read it out loud.
Okay. Now. When you were young, what did you want to be when you grew up? Well, when I was like really, really young, I wanted to be a model. But I think every little girl wants to be a model when they're little. But, you know, in elementary school and now, I've always wanted to be an eye doctor. So that's the plan for now.
So that means you're going to be a great wife.
Yeah.
Woo! Yes. Proverbs 31 woman. That's awesome. Well, if you wanted to be a model, you're gorgeous.
Thank you.
You know, you could do something and still be an eye doctor if, we'll talk about that. Well, thank you once again for being on the show. I'm so happy that you're here, and we thank God for your life and what he's doing through your life. So thank you once again.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. And thank you so much to all of you for tuning in to another episode of Dialogue. If you are someone out there who just really wants to get some encouragement and some hope, I really would love for all of you to go and visit Chinelo's website. It is I Have a Purpose, right? I Have a Purpose, ihaveapurpose.org. Please support her organization. You can go and read about cancer, the different types of cancers, get some resources, as well as support everything that she's doing. So until next time.